North America. It's Late Night with Robert.
Hello, everybody. What's happening? Get ready. I'll be with you in just a second. Hold tight.
as fresh as the breeze.
Eggs come to you fresh every day.
Serve them any way you please.
Eggs are natural and economical, so keep enough on hand.
Nature made them nice and neat.
High in protein and only 80 calories each. Eggs are a natural wonder. For meals, snacks, appetizers, whatever.
All you do is heat and eat.
Eggs don't run out.
The incredible edible egg.
So if you didn't get your chickens and you're not ready, your chickens, you're going to have to be paying gold to get your eggs now. Twice as much as what you paid last year, and probably might not be able to get them. So I would say stock up. The best thing you can probably do, and this is actually for the support of what we're doing here at the ministry, but I'm going to tell you what, we do have, because we see way in advance. We prepared for this moment, just like Joseph, and we've got freeze-dried eggs. You can stock up on those right now while the prices are still somewhat low. They're, freeze-dried, you're going to pay a little extra because there's a process in freeze-drying them, but they last 25 years, and you can stock up and get a whole bunch of eggs. One bag has 4 dozen eggs in it. So we got links below in the description, and as well, if you want to stock up on your eggs now before they disappear completely, do it now. Get ready, because things are about to get crazy. The Eggheads. The debut of the Eggheads. What's going on, guys? Blazing Press here once again. I just have to say thank you to all you out there that get the keep the show on the road here. Roxy, Scott. Let's see who else we got in here. Roxy Rain. Let me make sure I thank everybody here. All you guys that are here that are supporting us with your prayers and also sharing these feeds with everybody you can. It's really important. Colorado, got the ball rolling there. Colorado, right on, brother. Thank you very much. Bill Pellerin, matching contribution. Awesome. We appreciate it. And we're trying to keep the ball rolling too with these egg sales, because we knew this was just like the mask thing. We were like, the mask is coming. Let's prepare. Maybe it'll support what we're doing. And it kept us on the air too, by the way. The mask, when we did sell the mask, even though they weren't needed, well, they might have been helping a little bit, who knows? An N95, as long as you didn't wear it all day. I mean, if you wore the mask all day, it probably wasn't very good for you, but at least if you were indoors around a whole bunch of people, it might have helped. But hey, we stocked up on the masks ahead of time too. Remember, we told everybody we're doing the same thing with the eggs. We knew the eggs were going to come. We just were like, okay, let's just prepare. People are going to see where this is going to go here in a little bit. And sure enough, this is where it's at. Now I'm going to give you guys some heads up on intel information that we have. Let's see if I got did I put it up here? You know what? I didn't put it on here, did I? Okay, so what we're going to do is just probably listen to it. I think I just basically put it on there. Yeah, okay. So I did a little bit of researching on the eggs with the chicks. So a lot of people that don't know this, but people that have chickens will get their chickens once a year. A lot of times they'll replenish their flocks every couple years to make sure that they have laying hens, that you don't want old hens. At a certain point, they don't lay eggs anymore. I'm not exactly sure the longevity of a chicken, but every couple years you should add a couple of chickens, some more chickens to your flock. if you're wanting to get regular chickens. In the wintertime, they kind of slow down in their egg production. So there's certain breeds that are better than others. But the main breeds are out there, and a lot of people get the main breeds, the real hardy breeds. We know a little bit about the chickens because we kind of have been doing it for a couple years now. And the hardy breeds are out there. So they've got these hatcheries that are main hatcheries. There's probably like 4 main hatcheries that supply all of the farm stores like Tractor Supply and Wilco's. I think it's called Wilco. And you've got a lot of different a lot of different retail outlets that will buy chicks from these 4 big main hatcheries. Well, we started seeing a whole bunch of talk online, and I started realizing, you know what? I bet you something's going to start happening with the chicks as well. Not just the eggs, but something's going to go on with the chicks. And I don't know what it was, but I started doing a little research into this. And sure enough, they're not selling chicks from these big hatcheries anymore to the public. Now, and I'm talking about the 4 main hatcheries, okay? So we started doing some research. Some of the hatcheries, there's the main big one is called Hoover. It's called Hoover Hatchery. If you go to Hoover Hatchery, they're not selling to the public anymore. You used to be able to buy chicks right directly from Hoover, and they would send you live chicks. You could buy 100, 200, whatever, and they put them send them UPS, and it's called live animal, and they would come right to your door, right? Or they would come, to the post office. You go pick them up. Well, they're not doing that anymore as of this year, and all the other places are not producing chicks until if you try to order anything right now, any of the main breeds, it's like June, July until they can actually send, supposedly. They're going to wait. Normally, they would be sending chicks out in February, March. Okay, that's when they usually would start sending them. So there's something going on with the chick production, right? So I started thinking, okay, this is weird. I went to my local Tractor Supply store, and I just happened to talk to the manager. And the manager, this was just yesterday, he was telling me, oh, yeah, there's something going on. We were supposed to get our supply of chicks yesterday on the 17th. They postponed our date to the 17th. And then they gave us an email and said that they weren't going to send them till the end of March. So you're talking about almost into April, right? The end of March 31st. And so he was really, surprised by this, and he was like because he has chickens himself, and we got into this conversation about what's going on with the bird flu, and we're kind of speculating. Lots of rumors are going around online, especially on Facebook, about chicks, about whether or not there's a bird flu at the hatcheries or what's going on. There's something definitely fishy about what's going on with the chickens, with the chicks. And we're talking about, 1 to 2 day old chicks or 3 day old chicks that you get in the mail. Has there anybody out there that's listening to me ever order chicks through the mail? Anybody? So you'll know how usually it takes 2 days to get to your door. They kind of send them really, through expedited mail. But anyways, so I started thinking about this, and so I asked him, and I called him back today. And you want to hear the call? Okay, so here's the call. Listen to what he says to me. So this is the manager talking about what's going on with the chicks and how he was. Let me just see if I can find it here. Let me make sure I've got it. Where did I put that? Okay, I think I put it right here. Oh, shoot. No, I didn't. I did it right here. Okay, here we go. I just want you to listen to this. Yeah, this is it right here. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to let you listen to this phone call that I recorded. And I kind of cut out. I don't want anybody to know exactly where it's at or what is being said here in terms of the specifics, but this was the gist of what we talked about. Okay, here we go. I appreciate you taking my call. I was wanting to talk to you yesterday about the chicks.
Yeah, I got
about
good
chickens.
news for you.
What's that?
They ship today, so we're getting
Really?
we're getting them Wednesday morning.
That's
So-
what I've been kind of looking around trying to figure out what's going on. But you're right though about the major distributors of the hatcheries.
Yep.
They aren't shipping to the public, and if they are, the dates are set for for a lot of the chicks to go like the end of July, June. I mean, that's really far out, like where they're going to ship to the public.
Yeah, I guess Tractor Supply pushed pretty hard and just said, "Hey, this is part of our vendor contract and our agreement, and we need you guys to honor this and do it." So, according to the system, I'm not getting them until March 31st. But I called the hatchery this morning, and when I talked to them, they said that they'll be shipping them out today. It's a maximum 2-day shipment. They're not going to get them out until later in the day to save the time that they're going to be actually in transit. It'd be safer for the birds, and that will have them like by 5 a.m. Wednesday morning. Store doesn't open till 8. But
that is so good. And I'll probably come and get some. But you said that their date for you was March 31st?
Yeah, so it started off as February 17th, and then it got
Right.
pushed off, and then the last date that I saw was March 31st.
Dang.
And then I guess our corporate buyers got involved and kind of held them to the fire on honoring the contract, and we're getting them on Wednesday morning.
But you were right. You were right though about the main hatcheries not shipping to the public. That's really bizarre.
Yeah, no, and from what I understand, it's a precautionary thing. Try to keep the population down a little bit until they can get a control and get some information on what the bird flu is. Now, this is what I'm hearing all third and fourth hand, not from the hatcheries themselves, but I'm
Right.
just hearing it from different people that I'm talking to.
Right.
So I don't know where their source of information is, but it sounds reasonable.
That's what I'm thinking too. I was thinking the same lines, that they're just trying to keep it. They don't want to start sending out a bunch of birds if there's going to be a big issue. It's just kind of weird though.
Yeah, and from what I understand too, they kind of decreased production intentionally so that they didn't have an overwhelming amount of birds out there and have a greater opportunity for this to spread if it does become an issue.
Wow.
So they
That's
were doing some like
crazy.
damage control beforehand, just saying, "Hey, listen, we don't know if this is going to become a thing or not. It's not that big of a deal, but you know what? Just to err on the side of caution, let's limit production because if this does go bad and and something happens, we could lose a lot of birds. It could spread. It could get a lot worse. Do everything else. Let's go ahead and still produce, but let's just kind of limit our quantities, keep an eye on this, and see if it's an issue or if it's not an issue."
Wow, that's good. That's good to know. That gives me a little background on kind of what I see happening here. And I don't know if you saw, Trump is supposed to talk to the nation here pretty soon about the bird flu, but
Yeah.
they're definitely wanting to limit whatever is going on. And the biosecurity thing has to do with vaccines, and I'm guessing they're wanting to vaccine. I always thought that they vaccinated all the birds. Do they not vaccine the chicks, or do they?
This is my first year with Tractor Supply, so I don't know if they do or not. I know at I was there. They said that the birds were medicated. They didn't say vaccine. They just said that they the birds
Right.
were treated and medicated as need be.
Are you there?
Yeah,
Okay. Oh, is that me or you?
that's me. That's my other line ringing.
Oh wait, so I just told him goodbye at the end because he had a phone call, and he's a manager, so he's pretty busy. But I just wanted to get that, and he started talking about the vaccination and the medication. What's the difference between medicated chicks and vaccinated chicks? What are they doing? Are they vaccinating the chicks? Is that why they're not sending them out quickly? Why is the public having to have a problem getting chicks now? There's something going on here, and he made speculation whether he's got this information. He said third hand, that they're limiting the production. So the production of even chicks is low. This is going to cause even more shortages amongst the people that normally would be growing their chickens and getting their own eggs, because now they're not going to have the chickens. So they're going to be drawing upon the supply of the stores. And, possibly if they don't get their chicks, who knows what's going to happen between now and the next few weeks. This thing could turn into something much worse, especially with what they're saying now on the websites that are chronicling what's happening here. And I was looking at some news on this, and they're talking about biosecurity. What is biosecurity? That has to do with injecting these chickens with vaccines. So what kind of vaccines are they going to now? Everything seems to be changing. The types of technology that they're wanting to develop now in terms of what is considered a vaccine is really not a vaccine. It's more of it's the gene therapy. This is what they're doing now with this gene therapy. I mean, when you hear them talk about 250 plus new vaccines that they're creating from mRNA technology, these are not your classic vaccines. These are gene therapies, okay? They're administrating this to the animals. They were doing this. There's a video that I want you guys to see here. I might play after I'm done. I'll be playing what do they call it? The premiere after we're done. I want you guys to really listen to this information about what potentially is happening with the animals. We're talking about chicken, beef, which is going to affect your eggs, and whether this technology is literally inside of the animals that we're now eating. The affected food supply chain is, since they couldn't get it into you directly, through injections and you accepting it, maybe they're going to be doing it through an alternative way. And whether that's the fear of a flu, a pandemic, or just getting it into your food supply. Whether that can actually get into your bloodstream by eating it, I don't know. But it sounds kind of creepy nonetheless. But this whole shortage thing with the chickens is very concerning, and I wanted to show you guys here really quickly. Let me see if I got the info on this. I think this was it here. Well, this is coming from Politico, but Politico is kind of a little more antagonistic toward Trump. But let me just read this really quick. And this is a post that was done yesterday. It says, Trump administration firings hit key office handling bird flu response. Now, they're trying to say that Trump is gutting all of these government agencies that are checking and keeping in check whatever's happening with this flu. Now, it might be the opposite in many ways from what people are actually saying is happening, because under Biden, they were killing and culling millions and millions of chickens. I don't even know if it's got to be close to 50 million chickens or more. I don't know how many millions of chickens it is. I know it's way up there. And that's why we're having the problem with the eggs. Now, I don't understand why it's not affecting meat chickens, really. I mean, meat hasn't been a problem for the chickens, from what I've been hearing, not like eggs. But why is it only affecting eggs? Why not the meat chickens too? Or is it going to start to affect meat chickens? They're saying, I don't know, 20% rise in prices in the next few weeks to a next month or so. They're saying egg prices are going to continue to go up. But I foresee something else happening. And my sense is that there's going to be some kind of a crisis. Trump is now saying, and the administration is now telegraphing, that the state of the economy is much, much worse than they expected. Oh, really? I don't know. I knew it was bad. And I know Trump is saying this because of the pain. Before they put all this information out about how bad the economy is, stagflation, how prices are going to continue to rise. They're saying now prices are going to continue to rise in the food, 4 or 5%. I don't know. Eggs going to continue to go up. Everything is going to go up. You're seeing gas. Gas has gone up 50 cents since Trump got in. I've noticed our prices in gas, a gallon, have gone up 50 cents. 50 cents. So if this continues to happen, and let's just say there's major crises that unfold in the world, wars break out, not like, Ukraine, but something much worse, escalations. I know that Trump's supposed to have some kind of sit-down meeting with Putin. But, when all this talk of peace, I almost kind of wonder if, China and Russia don't want this moment to happen where there's ultimate chaos, in our backyard here, where it affects our economy, because we're kind of teetering on the edge of many different things. And I know the whole world is being affected. But, Russia and China have been preparing for this. They've been stockpiling resources. They've been stockpiling commodities, gold, all the silver, all the metals that it takes to make an industry work, food, the staples, like wheat, and they literally been doing this for many years. They've been like, and I've been watching this and talking about this for a few years now. Obviously, it's gone back for at least 10 years since, the BRICS came into being. We were talking about the BRICS back in 2009, 2010. And we saw what they were doing back then, and they were preparing, just steadily preparing, getting their self-positioned for these moments that we're in now. And I think that they're expecting something really bad to happen to the global economy. And who stabilizes that global economy? What currency really stabilizes the whole of the global economy? The American dollar. Why do you think Trump is positioning himself at this time to be the Bitcoin president and the capital of cryptocurrency, and that this is going to be the foundations of our global, world reserve currency status in the world, that we're going to somehow gobble up all the capital in the world through the cryptocurrency cap because we're the capital, right? Everything's going to go to digital, right? So we're going to somehow short the markets, and everybody's going to be left holding gold and silver, and they're not going to, that's not going to be what the medium of exchange is going to be. So they're going to have to dump their silver and their gold and all their other things to buy Bitcoin. And we're going to be holding the major reserves of Bitcoin right here at the United States. And so then the price goes way up because the whole world has to use it. And then guess what? Then we get rich, right? And then we pay off all our debt and everything else. That's what they're saying. That's what their idea is. And that's the way they think it's going to go. Is that really the way it's going to go? I mean, do we really know that? Is that the way it's really going to go? Now, I don't know. Maybe with Elon, and if this is truly the end time scenario that we believe that could be the beast system that has that technology that keeps the controls of finance and currencies and, keeping it all digitally attached to our biometrically attached to us as humans, with all this nanotechnology and this mRNA stuff is a part of that. So anybody that's looking at what they're doing with the genes, the altering of genes and nanotechnology, knows that this is all a part of the bigger picture of controlling humanity, not just through digital IDs and digital, because you remember the digital ID rolled out at the same time as the vaccine the first time, right? Do you remember when COVID rolled out, it was all talk about digital ID, digital passport. Everything had to be, they were trying to scramble to get everybody to become aware of it. It was almost like it was scripted. And I swear, this whole thing was scripted. It was all prepared in advance. And you can go back in October of 2019 and look at the videos on YouTube that were out there everybody was looking at Event 201. You can go YouTube search that, Event 201, and you can see the medical center, I forget which one, John Hopkins Medical Center was role playing, and they were war gaming and simulating this massive pandemic that was going to look just like COVID, just 3 months prior. And it was interesting because Trump actually made some executive orders or some kind of laws that he was instituting before the pandemic started. It almost seemed like he knew it was coming in advance. And I forget what this all was. We'd have to go back and I'd get the specifics on it for you. But you got to kind of wonder if this isn't all connected to what they're trying to do with, getting everything vaccinated. They want, I don't know if you remember during the COVID, they started vaccinating wild animals. They were vaccinating zoo animals. They were giving them this mRNA crap. Why? Why were they doing this? Did it help? They're saying that it helped us. I don't know how it helped, because the people that I know that didn't take it, they were just fine. They might have got sick, but from what I understand, the majority of people that actually took these shots ended up having bad situations unfold physically, and many even died. And the stats are there. I mean, the stats are officially there from the journals of medicine. You can go and look at what's going on with people that took it, and it had some bad outcomes and fallout. But Trump's here to save the day. He doesn't want us to take COVID shots. He's making laws now that are supposedly against mandating these things once again, the COVID thing. But it doesn't matter because the technology that was in COVID is still being pushed in other quote unquote vaccines that Trump is behind and that Vance is behind. This whole company Palantir. And anyways, it's so deep and it's so intertwined and all the things. So the chickens to me are just a symptom. It's kind of like the canary, the chicken in the coal mine. We'll just call it the chicken in the coal mine. Have you ever heard that saying, the canary in the coal mine? when the canary dies, you know that something's bad and you better get yourself ready to get out. Okay? When the chickens have problems, just realize this, that is you're next. That's an analogy I think we should all be listening to. The chickens in the coal mine. And if you've never heard canary in a coal mine, then you might want to look up that just so you understand what I'm talking about, because for those who don't know that phrase, you might think I'm saying something stupid, but no, it's an analogy. We're in a time that we look at the things that are happening that are actually going to affect us. So and this is another thing, I got to tell you this is weird. Now, Dee, are you in the house here? Dee's one of the gals that used to be a part of our fellowship when we had the fellowship going on. Dee was a part of that. And Dee still messages me on Telegram with news and information and stuff that is relevant at times. And I don't know if you're in here, Dee, but she sent me a message. It was so weird. The timing of it was so bizarre. And I'll share it with you for those and now this is just, for those who believe that God will show you certain things at certain times. And we kind of go by that guidance system because obviously we have reason and logic and we understand, thought processes are scientific, if you will, follow the science, right? I don't think it's the science that people are really following, though. But literally just being logical, there is a higher reason. And I believe God's logic and reason is higher than our ability to think. So I do appeal to God when I get guidance. But this is something that happened when I was talking to my wife and we were contemplating at this very moment the possibility that these shortages in chicks had something to do with the preparation and possibly the vaccination and the altering of our food supply, and that they're rolling this out really quickly right now. This is why they're trying to withhold the public from getting too many birds right now, because maybe they're going to be coming for backyard chickens. But anyways, as I was talking to my wife about this, I get this message from Dee, and this is basically what she said. And it was so weird because I was just thinking about this thought, and she doesn't message me that often. So for this message to just pop up right when I was thinking this very same thought, within about a minute of me thinking it, you have to say have you ever heard that saying, there is no such thing as coincidences? These coincidences you need to take note of. Because when things like that happen, you should be aware that there isn't coincidences. Coincidences just don't happen like this. I don't know. I mean, you could get lucky and 1 in a million type thing, but still, I take note of coincidences. And this is what she said. Let me pull it up for you really quickly. And I'll try to remember exactly what I was saying as I got it. Okay. Supposed to be at the surgery office. Okay, yeah. So this whole thing, okay, so listen to this. Okay. So I'm just kind of reading some of the things that she just said to me here. Okay, so she sends me this message right when I'm thinking about this, out of the blue. She said, "I just saw your post about chicken vaccines, and I'm really regretting not following through after I heard a word from the Spirit the other day and messaging you then." She says, "I think it was 3 days ago, maybe four. I was listening to the broadcast, and she was sending this to my wife, I think. She said, I was listening to the broadcast, and Robert was telling people again about getting chickens. And it was, it was then that I heard a loud no. And the quote was, she felt the Lord was showing her, they're already genetically altered. Only get it from a local farmer." And I was thinking the same exact thing right before she messaged me that. So I was thinking, because I was sitting here pondering, why are they doing this pullback? Why are they withholding the supply of these chickens? Why are they trying to tell, like, Tractor Supply, hey, we're going to withhold for a period of a month? And they're pressing them, hey, this is our contract. You have to fulfill our contracts. Why are you trying to hold back these chicks for another month? People want them now. Why are you trying to withhold? Why are they lessening the production? This intel that this guy, and he's a manager, the information that he's been getting second and third hand and he's been hearing is that they're doing it on purpose. They're shorting the chick market. For those out there that are trying to get chicks, you're going to have a hard time getting them. And if you are going to get them, are they going to be vaccinated with this new technology? Because that was what I started thinking, was maybe they're wanting to withhold so that they can get them all vaccinated before they send them out. So I was sitting there thinking that, and then she sends me this right at the same moment. So then she says, they're already genetically modified. Only get them if it's from a local farmer. She said, I almost Googled it to see if they were giving the chickens injections already, which wouldn't have surprised me. But I'm sorry to say that I didn't listen to it then. She was talking about sending me the message 4 days ago. But I strongly feel that the Spirit is warning us to protect us against these food sources now from this point forward. And I'm kind of thinking that our food supply is being affected, especially like when I look at cans on the shelf and I'm looking at them and I look at where they're coming from, China. Why do I want to buy food coming from China? I don't want my food coming from China. We got enough food here. We used to be the breadbasket of the world. Now, after watching what happened with that burning lithium factory in the salad, what do they call it? The salad bowl of the world. I think it was in Placerville it was in California somewhere. And I read you guys that article about how everything has heavy metals in it now, the soil, all the plants. They would have to basically get rid of everything that is 70% of the market, what they would send out, not even to our country, but globally, they ship and export, is all damaged. Just all this land has been saturated with heavy metals from this fire. This thing went on for I don't know how long, and you got to kind of wonder what happened there, this lithium fire. Did you guys see that a while back? That happened. Anyways, I posted a video about this and how they're talking to the farmers, and the journalist is asking them about, how this is going to affect all the crops. Even if they pay them to get rid of the crops, still there's going to be a big shortage. And if they're probably not. They're going to probably put that on the shelf anyway. They're going to probably push it out there and get it out there and say, oh, it's fine. And people are going to be eating it. And it's got residues of all of this lithium heavy metal smoke that was just basically just blanketing the whole valley area where all these crops are being. They call it the salad bowl of America. You just got to wonder if they're just doing this on purpose. I am very suspicious of everything now that the more I read. Let me just look at the salad bowl of America. It's Salinas Valley. I believe it's Salinas Valley. It's in California. So it's basically the climate is cool. Waters of Monterey Bay influence the temperate climate in the Salinas Valley, which is good for growing vegetables. The Salinas Valley has rich soil and underground water supply. It's an agricultural history of Salinas Valley dates back to the mid 1800s. And it says almost half of the nation's lettuce, a third of the nation's spinach, around a third of the nation's strawberries, half of the nation's broccoli and cauliflower. It's also renowned for its flowers and vineyards. It's emerging as a world hub of agricultural technology. It's home to a number of high-tech innovations that are being used to improve production. So when you look at this video, and maybe I should just play this for you, because really this is about our food supply. When they control the food supply, just like they were trying to control the water supply. I used to live near the Central Valley. Basically, it's the breadbasket of, it used to be the breadbasket of the world. And you had farmers that had been there, since the 1800s, and farms, smaller farms. Well, they stopped flowing the water. Remember how Trump says, well, we're going to turn the water back on. We're going to send the military in there now, and we're turning the water back on. Well, the water's been shut off for like 20-something years. I mean, why didn't he turn back on the water, back in his first administration? I remember going to protests where there were 10,000 people on the streets protesting the water being shut off. This was probably 25 years ago. They call it the water wars of the Central Valley. They were shutting it off because of a little fish, and they shut it off because of the frog, a little frog that was endangered. And, they're doing it to choke out the farmers. They want to cut off the supply so their crops die and their trees die. And once the trees die, then that's it. You can't farm anymore. And so what happened with a lot of these farmers would just turn their farms over and they would sell out. It's kind of like having a big fire. These fires that are taking place, people can't rebuild. Maybe they didn't have insurance. Who knows? They sell their property. Somebody comes in and gives them an offer and they take it. Well, that's what happened with a lot of these farmers. They basically sold out to these big corporate entities that came and just bought, probably Bill Gates, he's buying up all that farmland. But this has been going on for more than 20 years. And it's also happening, I believe it's like Central Oregon. I think it's called there's another valley up there. They were doing the same thing with the water. I'm trying to remember the name of that area up there, but they were having the same issues up there. And I think it's a concerted, planned, takeover of not only your water supply, but your food supply. Once they control food, and they can blame it on anything. They'll blame it on Biden. Well, Biden was terrible. This is why we're in a crisis. It's all Biden's fault, but it was all part of a planned crisis. It was all part of a plan to get people to be compliant and to be obedient to those that are telling them the way, problem, reaction, solution. Create the problem, gain a reaction from the public, and then bring a solution. This is the solution, right? And the solution guides you. It's going to take you into a place that you didn't want to be, because the problem that was created was intended. It's kind of like the Hegelian dialectic. They're using both sides, whether it's right or left, at odds with each other to ultimately guide both sides to where they want it to be. So they're just kind of, it's social engineering. They're engineering the public's mindsets through propaganda as well, through media. Now they're starting to use mainstream media or social media, and they're trying to, because it's probably easier to influence and also easier to promote people that they want to promote, especially if they gain control of all the social media outlets like Facebook or YouTube or Rumble. They can kind of promote certain voices out there that they want to, toe the party line and to basically build up what they're trying to do. And in the process, people are getting rich. They're getting platforms where many people are listening. But if you're hearing too much truth, you're going to be censored immediately. So I guess I could show you that one about the fires there. It's pretty, just just terrible. I mean, it's just thinking about the how it affects your food, and then how it affects you if you eat it. You got heavy metals in your body after you eat it. People don't realize how bad this is. Let me just go through some of the stuff here really quick. mRNA bird flu vaccines for humans in final stages. Okay, listen to this. Let's look at some of this here. This is coming from biopharmadive.com. Biopharmadive, DIVE.com. What it says here is that Moderna gets over $500 million from U.S. government for bird flu vaccine. Oh, how perfect. Moderna. The biotech has been working with the support of BARDA to develop candidates that could protect against avian influenza viruses like the H5 and the H7 strains. This was dated January 21st, just a week or so ago, a little over a week. It says Moderna will receive $590 million from the U.S. government to develop messenger RNA or mRNA vaccines for influenza strains such as H5N1 that are seen as potential pandemic risks. Very interesting. Announced Friday as one of the Biden administration's final acts. I'm sure that President Trump will be right on board with that. But no, he's recalling the COVID vaccines, right, so that he can transition us into this new one. Wash, rinse, and repeat. Wash, rinse, and repeat. This is exactly what's happening. As I've told you before, they're on the same team. There's just a bad cop and a good cop. They're basically just playing you. I hope you can see through this. It's pretty dang obvious for anybody that really looks deeply and thinks a little lower than, just a tickle of your emotional feelings about what he's doing for you, because he's really not, he's throwing you bones. That's great. But what about what's in those bones? It's like, here's an apple. It's really a good apple. Doesn't it look awesome? Doesn't matter that there's some poison in it. You don't see the poison, but you'll figure it out after you eat it. We're just trying to warn you there's poison in the apples, okay? Announced Friday as one of Biden administration's final acts, the funding commitment is through the Biomedical Advanced Research and Development Authority, an arm of the Department of Health and Human Services. Well, if Trump rolls this back, then we can say, yeah, maybe there's some hope. Let's just see if he rolls it back. The new grant expands on one issued to Moderna last summer. It says Moderna has been testing these vaccine candidates for pandemic influenza 2023 when it began a phase 1.5 study in adults that assessed shots matched to the H5 and the H5 avian flu strains. The company is now preparing to advance one candidate, dubbed mRNA 1018, into phase 3. The funding announcement came as another case of bird flu in an adult was recently confirmed in California. Since early 2024, there have been 67 cases of confirmed H5 bird flu in humans. Now, the thing that we read yesterday, and if you haven't seen yesterday's broadcast, you need to go back and watch yesterday's broadcast. We go over a lot of stuff that we're not talking about here. But one of the things that we did get into was how they're saying this is not contagious between humans when a human contracts avian flu. It's not that contagious. So it's not something that is causing a lot of concern. But the big but is that the more this is happening with other animals, the more it's possible that this could merge with the human influenza virus, which could make it very contagious. and cause much more potential death, because they say the death rate or the mortality rate is a lot higher, getting closer to 50%, is what I understand. So if it does somehow intermingle with the influenza, which is highly contagious, it could become the next pandemic. So but that could be just the narrative, to get us to go over the edge here. And, when you start thinking about it, people start fearing, they start seeing people sick all over the place, and, people start dying here or dying there. People are going to panic at that point. That's going to be a big panic thing. Is this the way they're going to herd humanity, or is it going to be something else? Is it going to be a big war? I mean, how are they going to get us to be manipulated? At a certain point, I think they want to kind of control humanity. They want to probably cull humanity at a certain point. We need to lower the population a little bit more. Do they really care that millions of people are dying? I really don't know. They can just blame it on a pandemic. And, whoever, are we going to ever know? Do we really know? I mean, we're not really doctors, but the doctors and the smart people that do the journals are saying what happened with the last mRNA shot. Okay. It's all pretty much there. Peer review. Okay. You can go and look at it yourself. Go look at Dr. John Campbell on YouTube. I mean, he talks about it pretty much in depth, and he's not holding back his criticisms for what's happened, because he sees the graphs, he sees the numbers, deaths between 20s and 45-year-olds. The charts are pretty shocking, in the last 2 years. So, we all should be taking note of that. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention maintains that the overall health risk to the public remains low. Yeah, that's good. Just calm everybody down until we get everything ready to go. And then once we launch, then panic. Don't panic yet, but panic now. It was like, this is why I got so pissed off during 2020, the whole thing that was going on with Trump, because I saw him ignore this thing for a good month to a month and a half, when I knew it was serious. And I was trying to warn people on YouTube, starting in the early part of January 2020. I was telling people, this is serious, guys. I mean, look at what's going on. Nobody was really talking about it. I think I only remember one other channel that was posting videos about it, and that was it. And they would post a video here or there. But I was covering this every single day, showing the videos that were coming out of China. And I was telling everybody this was really, really serious. And as things continued to progress and things started coming out more and more throughout the month of January, going into February, still nothing from Trump. Trump was just like, it's nothing, just ignore it. It's fine. Like it was not a big deal. And I couldn't understand, I was totally ignoring everything that Trump was doing, because at that point, right before, I was covering everything, I was just covering anything that was happening and, looking at whatever Trump said. I mean, it was a big focus on what he was doing. But after that, I started having these very deep suspicions about what I saw going on there and how it was being handled. Now, at a certain point, he did block, flights coming in from China, but I think it was already too late at that point, because a whole bunch of Chinese came in. They were saying he was misogynist, etc. But that's all part of the theater. Having the Democrats up in an uproar against something that Trump is actually doing, but doing too late. Did it stop anything from happening? No, it didn't. So where is it all going to go from here? I'm just going to say that I think that this very well could be a part of what they use to affect our food chain, our food supply. And there was another video that came out today that I was listening to that I'm going to share with you after I'm off, that said the same thing. They basically said the same exact thing, and kind of on the same page. We're pretty much on the same page. Even though we didn't talk to each other, I didn't share anything about what I'm thinking currently, but he comes out with the same exact thing on the same day. What are the chances of that? So in the mouth of two or three witnesses, Isn't that what it says? Let every word be established. So is it a coincidence? I mean, is it a coincidence? I mean, another coincidence. You got to kind of wonder. Now, my projections of what's going to happen, in light of what the Lord showed me a year or more ago, at least a year and a half ago, was that eggs would become a commodity like gold. And I don't know if you've ever, and we freeze dry eggs, and after you freeze dry them, it looks like gold. I mean, it's like, what it does is it turns into like a crystal. And I don't know if you've seen like coffee crystals, like Folgers crystals is basically freeze dried coffee, and it turns into a crystal. Well, that's the same thing that happens when you freeze dry like scrambled eggs. You mix them up and you freeze dry them and they turn into crystals. And you can vacuum seal them and put oxygen absorbers and moisture absorbers in there, and you can keep those things for 25 years. You can stock up on them and not have a shortfall. And even if they banned eggs and you had, each package that we sell is 4 dozen, right? Let's just say you stocked up on eggs and you had 10 packages. Well, that would last you a very, very long time. I'll just tell you that right now. And they're a little more expensive than just going and buying a carton of eggs right now. But I'm going to tell you what, if eggs start to disappear or go up in price, it was a great investment. Then you always got eggs as well. And eggs are very healthy, and you use them for everything that you bake with. They are literally going to be like gold. So, we're wanting to try to make sure that people understand where that's going to go with just that one staple that we all love. I love eggs, and the thing about an egg is, I think the reason, and I love chicken. I mean, chicken is great. I don't want to see any, we're going to do our own chickens. We're going to butcher our own chickens, but chickens and eggs, I think, are they're a very important part of what I think helps people to be, food secure. Chicken, it didn't used to be as expensive as it is now. Chicken used to be a lot cheaper, but now it's gone up in price, and I think it's going to go up even more. Obviously, beef is great, but you got to wonder what's going on with the vaccinating of these animals now. You got to wonder what you're eating now. And even the eggs are good. It's kind of like milk. Okay, and this was another illustration that he gave. So when a woman got the mRNA, you know what happened? If she had a baby and she was breastfeeding, the baby got it. The baby threw the milk. So when you have a chicken and it's been vaccinated with mRNA, when you get an egg, what's going to happen? Is the egg going to have mRNA? It's going to be passed on. The gene is going to be the gene altering technology that's in that vaccine, which is really, I don't believe, a vaccine at all, but it tampers with the DNA or whatever, the mRNA, and it supposedly secures that bird from being sick, but it's passed on to the egg. And so when that egg hatches and a new chick comes out, it also has alteration. It's passed on. This is why it's so dangerous to be tampering with DNA. I don't know who got the bright idea to do this. If it's just the AI taking over people's brains, saying it's a great idea, the aliens, or the demons behind it all, really. I don't know. Maybe that's where the Bible says they want to die, but they can't die because they've been completely genetically altered to not die. I mean, it says that they're going to want to kill themselves at a certain point in the biblical narrative, and they're not going to be able to. Maybe it's because they edit out the death gene or the aging gene, because that's another thing they're trying to do. But I don't think God's going to be really happy with all these outcomes of what's coming. Now, there might already be genetically modified humans, and they've probably already done all this because there's no laws against it. From what I understand, there's not a specific law that says you can't have genetically modified humans or clones or whatever. Remember when they cloned the first sheep? I think it was called Dolly. I think that was back in was that back in the 80s or 90s? I don't remember. But you know that they've done a lot of experiments on people that we just don't know about. I'm sure there's all kinds of things that have been done, especially in places like China. We have no clue about what they're doing. And it's just like technology. We don't even know the half of what has been developed in the last 20 years. I was talking to a guy that's pretty well versed in computer technologies, and he was telling me today, I was working on stuff around 2000 that I haven't seen rolled out until just recently. I already knew it was there, but now they're just releasing it and the public finds out about it. They've got all kinds of stuff that we don't know about that they don't release to the public until the time of their choosing, whether it's military application or whether it's a part of the control grid that they're going to be laying out for the public once they test it and they've got it all figured out. That's what I think COVID-19 was it was a massive test to figure out what they had to have as many people participate in this test as possible and all the different lots so they could figure out what worked and what didn't work. Well, that killed too many people. Well, that didn't. That worked a little better. And, so that's what I think they were doing, was tinkering with their ultimate technology to make it better for whatever application they want to have for it. And they have to have live subjects to participate, and that's why they covered their butts by saying it was an emergency use authorization and that they can't be sued if anything bad happens. Well, if there's 10 million people that die or 100 million people that die, oh well, you had a choice. They say you had a choice, right? You had a choice, but you were coerced. You had a choice, but you were manipulated. You were lied to. You were told you couldn't see grandma or you're going to lose your job. Okay, well, you didn't have to do it. We can't be sued because it was right there in the paperwork, or the Congress. They signed the bill. Can't sue them. They're not liable. But anyways, let's see. All right, let's see who's all here really quick. Okay, so can you hold on 1 second? Just give me like 2 minutes and I'll be right back. 2 minutes. Shoot, let me just play something here. Give me 2 minutes, guys. Give me 2 minutes. Just a little break.
CBS This Morning, sponsored by Pfizer.
Good Morning America is brought to you by Pfizer.
CBS Health Watch, sponsored by Pfizer.
Anderson Cooper 360. Brought to you by Pfizer.
ABC News Nightline. Brought to you by Pfizer.
Making a difference. Brought to you by Pfizer.
CNN Tonight. Brought to you by Pfizer. Early Start. Brought to you by Pfizer. Friday night on Aaron Burnett Out Front. Brought to you by Pfizer.
This Week with George Stephanopoulos is brought to you by Pfizer. Today's countdown to the royal wedding is brought to you by Pfizer.
And now a CBS Sports Update brought to you by Pfizer.
Meet the Press Data Download brought to you by Pfizer.
This portion of CBS This Morning, sponsored by Pfizer.
On how to find the hidden sugars in the American family diet. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Schwab's first two records.
Vaccines back, all right. You'll owe nothing and be happy.
But this one is gonna make your modified mRNA tingle. Time Lies presents Greatest Schwabs, Volume 15. A New World Order in music.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All the unvaccinated are still alive. A little bit of Pfizer in my arm. A little bit of BioNTech does no harm. A little Johnson Johnson does the trick. A little AstraZeneca so you don't get sick. It's booster number 5. Let's talk about Vax, baby. Let's talk about Doc Fauci. Let's talk about all the weird and countless side effects, maybe. Let's talk about Vax. Let's talk about Vax a little. Come and take the 7th shot, the 7th shot. With a little luck you get my, oh! Myocarditis. You won't have to be rich With CBDC, you'll have all you need. With central currency, we just take your extra wealth and your cash. And you can walk 500 steps, but not a single step more until the curfew activates and robot cops stand at your door. Just a small town boy drinking genetically modified soy. This ensures he doesn't procreate. Please stop breeding.
Stop the breeding.
We are almost 9 billion people. Please stop breeding right now. We didn't start a Pfizer. We just make you take it even if you hate it.
Greatest Schwabs, Volume 15. Now available on Spotify and MRN Apple Music.
All the caterpillar tastes like chicken in wine, and mealworm tastes just like a steak. Ain't nothing better than a deep-fried butterfly or centipede protein shake. Be sure to check the Cricket Mag nuggets out. They're almost as crunchy as worms. And chew your grasshopper sandwich extra loud. 'Cause this is all you get. I don't care who you are, where you're from, don't care what you want. You will eat the bugs.
You will eat the bugs. You will eat the bugs. Whether you like it or not. And you will live in a 15-minute city, or as Trump calls them, freedom cities. And everything will be provided. You won't own nothing and you'll be happy. Everything will be rented. Everything will be rented, and you only need to go 15 minutes in either direction, and that's all you need to go, because everything will be provided for you. But anywho's, okay, well, let's see. Let's just go through some of the articles here. Let's see what else I got here for you guys. Oh, gosh, let's see. Minnesota declares a state of emergency amid outbreak of trifecta of diseases. This is dailymail.co. What in the world is going on? Let's take a look. Am I on the right page here? Okay, there we go. Trifecta. So it says here that the Trump administration, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, last week issued a conditional license for an avian flu vaccine for use in chickens. This is coming from the Trump administration. Oh, yeah. I wonder if that's mRNA-based vaccines. Egg prices are estimated to increase about 20% in 2025, compared with about 2.2% for food prices in general, according to U.S. Department of Agriculture's price outlook. What will they be putting into the food supply now? Will these be mRNA vaccines? Will this be limited to egg-laying flocks or meat birds as well? This is coming from CNN.com. And that's one of the videos that we're going to share with you after we're done here. Minnesota declares a state of emergency as a trifecta of diseases are unfolding here. Let's see what that says here. This is Daily Mail. And let's see if they saved it. Oh, good. They archived it 3 hours ago. Terrific. So it says Minnesota has declared a state of emergency over the rise of 3 diseases on commercial farms. This is Minnesota. The state's Department of Agriculture issued the alert due to the outbreaks of 3 viral infections among animals in the state. Avian metapneumovirus, AMPV, is a respiratory disease that spreads among poultry and has been triggering outbreaks in the state since 2024. The highly pathogenic avian influenza, or HPAI, and the H5N1 bird flu viruses are all viral infections circulating among wild and domestic birds. So these are happening among all kinds of birds. Now they can use this as saying, well, you know, birds are going to take the flu. This is the reason why they're probably saying bird flu is the one that's going to kill it. They're going to use that as the main thing to kind of push the next big crisis, right? Because birds carry the virus everywhere. They're ducks and the geese. But why chickens? How are backyard chickens being affected? They don't fly anywhere. Where are they going to catch it from? What, you're going to have, a duck fly in and land in where your chickens are and infect your chicken? But that's probably what they're really after, is stopping the production of healthy sources of food, farmer grown, Amish type. You know how they were bothering the Amish about their milk? You can't sell. Here comes the government coming to stop you from producing milk. You can't be selling that to the public. That's bad. It's too healthy, not pasteurized. You might kill somebody. But here, take some mRNA vaccines. They're good for you. They're good for you. So they bother Amish for creating their own butter, their own milk, whatever else they're doing in their backyards, because they're farmers and they know what they're doing. Believe me, we know. We got Amish-like people all around us. And I know they know what they're doing. They're cousins of the Amish. You know who I'm talking about, right? And for those who don't know who the cousins of the Amish are, they are the Mennonites. The Mennonites. They're like Amish, but they're not as strict. They use phones and they do have cars. The HPAI refers to several strains. Let me just go on here so you guys can see what I'm looking at here. It says the HPAI refers to several strains of bird flu that can cause severe disease in birds, while H5N1 is the name of the most concerning virus that has jumped to humans. It's jumped to humans. Tom Peterson, the state's agricultural commissioner, said the move was an important step in helping Minnesota farmers affected by these diseases. The declaration means that the state can now offer zero-interest loans to farmers who are forced to cull their flocks or lose cattle because of infections. And this is dated today. The outbreaks are leading to mass culling of domestic birds, which has driven up the price of eggs, the average price now having risen 65% since the start of 2024 to around $9 or $5 a dozen almost there. And by the way, I think it's even higher now. I just think the average is everybody that I'm seeing. Let's just take an Insta poll right here in our audience. The Insta poll for the Blazing Press audience. What are you paying right now for a dozen eggs? For all you out there that are shoppers, usually the ladies, right? I don't know if some of the men do shopping too, but hey, what's your average price? What are you seeing regular eggs for? And I'm not talking about the organic eggs. I'm talking about just your caged, vaccinated, heavily regulated caged chickens that are producing eggs like, cattle. What are your prices on those? Just regular white eggs or whatever, not your fancy eggs. What are you guys paying a dozen? Just kind of curious. I'm going to see what you guys are paying here because I'm curious what's going on here. $10 a dozen, 60 for 20. Well, that's not bad. $6 a dozen, $8 per dozen, almost $10 per dozen. $3.50 a dozen? Andrea, where in the world are you getting $3.50 a dozen? You should go into business and start selling them things all over and doubling your prices. That's not bad. $3.50 a dozen? I guess that's where the average comes in. Where you got some places that are still offering eggs at $3.50 or $4 a dozen. That's where the average comes in, right? Deal Finder gets them at $7. Caged eggs, $7.99 to $9.99. I know in our local area they're about $8 to $9 for the basic egg. The organic are like going up to 11, 12. Karen Fed says $7. Sailor Jerry says about $6. What? $6 for 6 eggs? Serious? Walmart in Texas, not baby chicks. Not baby chicks. Per dozen, $1.85 per dozen. Oh, in the Philippines. Michael, you're in the Philippines. Okay. $2 a dozen in Mexico. Really? $2 a dozen in Mexico? Wow, that's pretty cheap. That's what it used to be back in the old days here. $6 per dozen or $6. I don't know what that means. 6 pp. Organic is at 10, 14 to $18 in Northern California. Are you serious, Kathy? I'm going to come with a whole truckload of eggs and start selling them on the corner right there. What streets? Where are you at? I'll come and sell them right there on the corner. Mitchell is saying $5 a dozen. So to me, the average, if I were to take the average here, the average right here from just our poll, this is our own poll. I'm going to say the average here is about $7 to $7. I'm going to say maybe $6.50, but I'm going to say $7. It looks like the average to me. It don't look like $4.95. It looks more like $6 to $7. I'll just say $6. That's like to me where I think the average is. $6 to $7. It could be $6.50, but between $6 and $7 is the average. That's what it looks like to me. Because only a few of you are below $5, and that's very few. About 20 of you were $6 and above. So you average that out, and now they're saying prices are going to keep going up. You're talking another 20 to 25%, which I think it's going to be even more. And as things get worse in the world and things start unfolding economically, because we're in stagflation, we're having these tariff wars that are going to also cause prices to increase. And we've got all kinds of chaos that could ultimately unfold that's going to affect markets on a deeper level too. Then I can only imagine prices are going to go even higher. So 20 extra percent for, you're looking at about another, $2 increase, I bet, from what we're at right now. So if your average is $6, you're going to be paying easy $8 average. $8 a dozen is going to be your average price. That's where I think it's going to be an average. But it could even be higher. It could even be more than that. I'm telling you, it could even be more than that. So And you got people around here paying 15 and 12, and you're talking about a lot of money for eggs. I mean, literally, there's certain places around the country now that are $12 to $15 a dozen. That's a lot. That's a lot. But like I said, the canary in the coal mine, the chicken is the canary in the coal mine. Just know this. I believe that's why God gave me the word a year ago or more to warn people that this was coming, that this was going to be the sign. When you see the price of chicken eggs going up, they become like gold, you know that something is going to happen. Something is going to be connected to this. That was my sense, is when I got the word for chicken eggs going up in price, there was a connection to a bunch of bad things, just so you know. Kathy Moore said she paid $3.50 a dozen. Yeah, I was paying like $2.50 or I wasn't in our stores. I should say I wasn't paying because we got all our chickens free. We got all our chicken eggs free. We got chickens and we get our eggs, so we don't have to buy them. But I was seeing them in the store because I monitor the store prices. But our prices were around $2.50, and now they're at $8 for just regular eggs. $8, like crazy. Like that's a huge increase. That's like, I couldn't believe it. When I went to the store a few weeks ago and I was looking at the prices, I was shocked. I was like, what happened? And then the next week it went up even more, like another $2, like another $1 to $2 a dozen. I was like, what in the world? This is when it all began to hit us. This is when all these things, and I noticed the same thing with gas. Gas has gone up. How many of you guys have noticed gas prices have gone up 50% or 50 cents in like 2 months? Like it was probably in a month and a half. Have you noticed the price of gas went up like at least 50 cents? Because I'll tell you what, gas about a month and a half ago was only about $2.70, $2.80 a gallon. And now it's like $3.20, $3.25 a gallon. That's a huge increase in gas in just a short time. How much more is that going to go up? That's a sign too. Well, I guess we're going to find out. All right, let's go look and see what else we have here. Another WEF darling, Tulsi Gabbard. Oh, remember Tulsi? She's the new Trump administrative director of national intelligence. She backtracks on FISA Section 702 to protect warrantless searches and invasive spying on Americans. So where did all her morals go? Out the window, just like RFK Jr. Everything he said he was going to do, it ain't going to happen now, is it? That's pretty convenient. But we could have told you that. That's why we don't put our hope in politicians anyway, because it's all such a seductive, compromising, it just destroys people's, politics, when it gets involved, especially if you're a person of faith and you start thinking that you're going to somehow ride the beast system, it's a corrupt system anyway, but unless you're a Daniel or you're some kind of a person that is truly willing to die on the on a cross, you hold fast to your faith no matter what, you're going to be compromised. You're going to go along with the whole thing, and you're going to sell out, lead a bunch of people astray. That's why we called out certain people that were saying that they're going to be government advisors and they're in the faith. They're saying they're part of this faith team that they set up. This is all part of the deception. This big faith movement that's a part of the government. It's all it is the clergy response unit becoming public. It's now seen. It's right there. It's right in front of your face. What do they call it? The clergy response. What was it called? Let's see if I can find out what they say about this clergy response. Okay, so here is the official thing. Okay, so what they call it is the DHS Center for Faith. So 6 days ago, FEMA, well, this is interesting. FEMA just posted, let's look at that and see what that is there. So this is on FEMA's official website here, FEMA.gov, and it's called Center for Faith. This was posted 6 days ago. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security Center for Faith fosters partnerships between government and faith-based organizations, or FBOs, to increase the nation's resilience by creating trust and developing relationships. The DHS Faith Center seeks to build bridges across the whole community and to help overcome coordination challenges among faith-based organizations. Emergency managers and other stakeholders engage a broad cross-section of faith-based organizations at all stages of the disaster cycle. So this is very similar to what they would call the clergy response. This might be what that is. So anytime there's a major crisis, they basically have an inroad into the church's, spokespeople to be able to tell the people what they need to hear, so they'll follow, they'll build trust. Well, it's your pastor that's now on board. He's the one that's representing what the government is telling them. Obviously you're taking money from the government and the tax exempt status that you hold. Well, here's your talking points. This is what you need to tell your people, right? What do they call that? C1, what do they call that status they give them? 501c3, right? Well, it says we seek to partner with faith and community leaders to promote whole community participation in disaster emergency response and recovery. We leverage emergency management tools, experts, and resources to ensure faith leaders, houses of worship, and community organizations are ready when disaster strikes. We work with federal, internal, or interagency partners to help faith and community leaders improve the safety and security of their facilities. Wouldn't want anything bad happening to your facility now, would we? No, we're there to protect. It's kind of like when you got a business and you get a knock on the door. We're here to protect your business, man. Do you want to pay into the fund? It's okay. We'll watch out for you. We're here to protect your business, man. We don't want anything bad to happen here. That's what we do. That's what our job is. We're here to protect you. Okay. Sure. How much do I owe you? How much do I need to give you to play the game? Is this the Clergy Response Network? Let me see. Healing Our Neighborhoods. Is this Clergy Response? This is not the one I'm thinking of. Clergy Response. What is it called, guys? Does anybody know? Can somebody refresh my mind on that? I know I'm saying it wrong. Clergy Response what? Does anybody know? Yeah, Clergy Response Team? Is that what they call it? Grok 3 just went live. Oh, wow. So they're rolling out the new AI on X. I wonder what it's going to tell us. We're spying on you. Let's see what's going on here. What does it say here? Let's see if we can figure this out. It says, let's see if I can get it so that you can see it here. All right, so it says, I'll do this later. Elon Musk What the heck? Scary Smart set to launch soon. Scary Smart? Is that what they call it? What the heck? Grok 3 launch, live updates. Elon's XAI has released the new Grok 3 series of models, including GPT-4 like pre-trained model, 2 reasoning models, and the AI agent called Deep Search. Oh my gosh. Grok 3 is expected to be powered by XAI's Colossus supercomputer, which reportedly houses over 100,000 or 1 million? That doesn't look like 1 million. That looks like 100,000, but they must have did it wrong. It's probably 100,000 NVIDIA CPU hours for the purpose of training AI models. It was built in just over 8 months. The more efficient successor to Grok 2 was reportedly trained on synthetic data sets using machine learning techniques such as reinforcement learning. Okay, so reinforcement learning is said to be an effective model or method to reduce incorrect or imaginary responses provided by AI models, otherwise known as hallucinations. It also significantly reduces the training times of large language models. This might be the last time that the AI is better than Grok, Musk had said at the World Government Summit in Dubai recently in praise of the upcoming LLM's advanced capabilities. So it says, is Grok a boy or a girl? Elon Musk answers. Grok 3 launched live updates. Musk said that Grok is whatever users want it to be. The XAI owner went on to add that people are going to fall in love with Grok, adding that it's 1,000% possible. What does that mean? So then it goes on to say that Grok's voice assistant is currently being polished and will be available to use for users in the coming weeks. It says it really should save you a lot of time. So something that might take you a half an hour or an hour of researching on the web or searching social media, you can just ask it to go do that and come back, and 10 minutes later it's done, an hour's worth of work for you. That's really what it comes down to, exactly. It may be better than you could have done it yourself. When will Grok be in a SpaceX rocket? Grok 3 launch live updates. A member asked when Grok will be in rocket, and the AIX founder replied, 2 years. In 2 years? Does that mean it's going to be controlling the rocket? Is that what it means? Grok 3 will display chain of thought, just like DeepSeek R1 and now ChatGPT 3 Mini. Grok 3 will show a detailed chain of thought, allowing users to take a look at the chatbot, at the chatbot is thinking through a problem, to take a look as the chatbot is thinking through a problem. Musk confirmed that XAI will obscure the thinking a little bit so that companies cannot just copy the chatbot. It's so out there, man. I'm telling you. Anyway, so this is just a log of what's happening here with the chat release here as of today. This just happened today. That's pretty significant. Pretty big news. Let me just see what this guy's saying here. I'll say yes. I'm the first one to vote. Who won strategically in negotiations? Russia. Oh, the U.S. People are saying the U.S. It's because he has a U.S. audience. How would you look internationally if America withdraws from Eastern Europe and the Baltics? How would it look internationally if America withdraws from the Baltics? I think it would look weak. But they say strong. It's strong. Weak is strong. Be weak and you'll be strong. The IRGC, which is the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, deputy commander said on Monday that Iran will launch its third attack against Israel, dubbed Operation True Promise 3. When? Monday? What's today? Today's Monday. So that means it's coming today? At the right time. So at the right time. Okay, so it's not going to be launched on Monday. It says at the right time. Iran launched missile and drone attacks on Israel in April and October of 2024 and has vowed to carry out a third strike in response to Israel's retaliatory attacks in late October, which destroyed almost all of Iran's air defenses. Really? All of them, huh? Wow. Are they in jail? Is Andrew Tate in jail? Just kind of curious. Okay, so they've been charged with sexual misconduct, organized crime, and money laundering. The Trump administration pressures Romania to lift restrictions on these guys. That's pretty crazy. The Trump administration has urged Romania to relax travel restrictions on Andrew Tate, an influencer facing charges in Bucharest. Tate and his brother, dual U.S. and UK nationals, were arrested in 2022. I thought that are they out? Okay, let's go back over here real quick. Netanyahu and Rubio. Israel is coordinated with Trump, including when the gates of hell will open. What? Oh, man. The gates of hell are going to open. This is what they said. Prime Minister and U.S. Secretary of State meet in Jerusalem and issue joint statement. Netanyahu emphasizes that he has made it clear that Iran must not have nuclear weapons and that Hamas must not pose a threat to Israel. Rubio said that Iran is the major source of instability in the region and Hamas cannot remain dominant force in Gaza. Israel is coordinating with Trump. So that ought to be interesting to see where that all goes. Man, I need to get a new chair. This chair is really uncomfortable. They're under house arrest, huh? Somebody said. So it says Doge has started pursuing access to more detailed internal data at the IRS, triggering significant alarms within the agency. I wonder what kind of data they're looking for. They're probably looking for data on those who are enemies of the state. Kind of like what Obama did to the right. They're going to do it to the left now, right? They're going to do it to the left and or whoever else is in the way, whether it's left or right, maybe. Who knows? This is, I thought was interesting. U.S. banks have been transporting gold from London to New York, with thousands of gold bars being moved out of the Bank of England's vaults in recent months. Did you guys hear that? Did you see that? There's a picture of it right here. Look at this. This picture shows it very clearly what's going on there. I don't know if you saw this. That's what they're doing. They're literally moving out the gold bars, or in this case, gold ovals, into the vaults here in America. Actually, they are moving the gold though. But I tell you, the eggs are like gold, little gold bars. I should show you one of the gold bars that I have, and tell me it don't look like a gold bar. And all it is chicken. It is just frozen, scrambled egg. Well, they're before you actually fry them up, but they're like you mix them up, blend them up, and then freeze them. You get like a little gold bar. Isn't that awesome? The most healthy thing you can eat. My kids love them. The cats love them too. We sometimes feed them to the cats too. the cats. Oh, I love this picture. But anywho's, did you see some of these memes that I posted? Look at this. I love this one. And just like that, the crazy chicken lady just became everyone's favorite neighbor. Oh, that's hilarious. Oh, I just thought that was funny. But this is my all-time favorite right here. This one right here is my all-time favorite. I got the good stuff. Yeah, this is the good stuff, man. This is the organic. This is only $20. $20. $20 for 3, man. Don't let anybody know. Meet me behind Walmart. You can make the drop right behind Walmart. I didn't choose this life, but this life has chosen me. Oh, man. Okay. All right, guys. I think that's about it. Now, if you want to get some eggs, and you definitely are in the market for stockpiling so that you don't go without, especially you can't go without eggs, definitely get the mRNA-free, GMO-free, backyard-grown free, or backyard, free-ranged. I say free-ranged because they call it free-range. And they eat the bugs. They eat the bugs. All the new good proteins are in there, and all kinds of good food are in the eggs. These are healthy, and you can stockpile them for years. They'll last for 25 years in their freeze-dried state. Vacuum sealed, oxygen absorbers, moisture absorbers, everything you need to make them last a long time. So far into the future, when eggs are completely gone and banned, you're going to still have some in these little packages. So you can get them right below in the description below. You're also helping support the channel at the same time. And I appreciate all you guys out there that did send out the super chats. I love you all. And yeah, God bless you. God bless you all. I'm looking at some of your comments before I go. Yeah, the eggs are just the tip of the spear for sure. Good night, everybody. God bless you, and the Lord bless you. The Lord keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you, be gracious to you, and give you peace in Jesus. Amen. If you missed the broadcast this morning, or I should say early afternoon, our devotional was really good. Make sure you stop by and watch those. They're very helpful. They're very, I think it's like an ever-present help. When you get the word in you, it kind of sets the stage for the rest of the day. It kind of sets a tone. And I always find great benefit when I do these talks with you guys. So if you're so inclined to check it out, even if you don't know what we're really all about in terms of the faith, take a listen, crack open that Bible, and start reading a little bit and see if these things be true, what we're telling you, and apply it, and you'll see real miracles, not these lying signs and wonders, not all these technological things that are making people go crazy. You're going to see something else, and it's going to be something that will truly rivet your whole heart and soul and mind upon. Because this world, I'm telling you, it says very clearly, they're lying signs and wonders. They're deceptive. They're, trickery. And I will say, they might be something that would cause someone to think, especially if you don't know who God is, you might be putting that on a pedestal. You might be worshiping it because it's something far beyond anything you've ever seen. But I'm going to tell you what, when you have your eyes open to the creator of all things, the one that actually created even the one that has fallen, that is deceiving humanity with all this technology, then you will understand what I'm talking about. Until then, this angelic being we call Satan is definitely an angel of light, and he's deceiving the world. It says, for all those who don't believe, their minds are blinded. So we have to be understanding what that means and how that actually affects humanity. And we're talking about the fallen creation. Then you will get to the source of really what it is that keeps someone's heart and mind free. Because that's what I'm talking about, is freedom. And it's not going to be happening politically. It's going to be in the soul. It's going to be taking place within your own being. That's where true freedom is. Everybody wants political freedom and, what they perceive to be freedom or peace. But there's really only one peace that passes all understanding, and it's deep within the soul, that only Jesus himself can give you, right? Whom the Son sets free is free indeed. And where the Spirit of the Lord is, it says there is liberty. You want true liberty, you want true peace, you want true freedom, it's only found in Christ. This world gives you a semblance of it, or a kind of a remnant of what God ultimately intends, so you can kind of get a taste of it, but it's not really what's going to satisfy you. It kind of tides you over. It's kind of like a drug. You get a drug, it makes you feel good for a little bit, but at the end there's a crash, there's a wake up, there's no reality in it, and it's ultimately leading you away from your true destiny or true knowledge of what you were intended for. And that's only going to be found in God. So I pray you find that if you haven't found it already. In the meantime, I will see you guys back here tomorrow. God bless and have a great night.